What is going on, everybody? Aaron Smith here for Forward Gettysburg. Welcome to another episode. This episode is going to be a little bit different. I'm not actually going to talk about the Battle of Gettysburg itself. Rather, I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of the tourism to the industry, and especially regarding the Cyclorama building. It's a beautiful day here in Gettysburg. Off to my right is the Baltimore Pike. I'm in the tour parking lot, if you will, right there near East Cemetery Hill, across from the National Cemetery. In fact, I can see the New York Monument directly across from me. Gorgeous spot, definitely a great spot to visit if you're ever in town. I'll apologize ahead of time for the sound of the road. Just some brief housekeeping things. I am working on getting a microphone up and running, figuring that out with the camera to get it to connect and everything. So we are working on some quality of life improvements here at Forward Gettysburg. Now, Aaron, why are you standing in front of a water tower? What significance does that have? Well, folks, I'm not just a fan of water towers. Actually, right here is where the very first Cyclorama building at Gettysburg was. Way back in the day, the building was dedicated and opened to the public in 1913 in time for the 50th anniversary of the battle. So, the Cyclorama, what is the Cyclorama? Those of you who may not have been here, may not have been to the visitor center and seen the Cyclorama painting. It is an enormous painting by French artist Paul Philippot. I'm not French, so I probably butchered that name. Philippot, Philippotu. I'm not French, I don't know. But either way, an enormous painting, a gorgeous painting, depicting Pickett's charge. Of course, we know that as the climax of the Battle of Gettysburg. Incredibly realistic painting as well. The painting was commissioned in 1879 by a group of Chicago investors. It took him a year and a half to finish it, so in 1882, Philippot is actually going to come to Gettysburg itself, and he's going to spend several weeks on the battlefield, sketching and photographing the battlefield. And then in the subsequent months after that, he's going to spend a lot of time researching the battle, what happened, what regiments were where during the action of Pickett's charge. And he's actually going to build a platform along Hancock Avenue, and what he's going to do is he's going to draw out an 80-foot radius from a circle in an 80-foot radius from that platform, and he's going to separate that into 10 separate sections. And each section is then going to be a part of the painting. It's actually pretty ingenious how he did that. I myself dabble in art. I'm certainly no Van Gogh or Monet or Peter Paul Rubens, but I do dabble, so I have a huge appreciation for the amount of work and effort and time that would go into such a massive undertaking as this. It took him a year and a half to complete. There are two versions. The Chicago version is the original version. The Chicago version was 22 feet high and 279 feet long. For those of you who may not know about the Freedom units, that would be about 85 meters, 279 feet. There is a Boston version that was also later commissioned, and that's the version that they have in the Visitor Center today. And the Boston version is even larger than the Chicago version. So imagine 22 feet is huge. I'm a hair over 6 foot myself, with shoes, with boots. You know, I can maybe fib my way into 6 foot too, but 22 feet is enormous. The Boston version of the painting is going to be 42 feet high, and it's going to be 377 feet long, and that's the version that stands now at the Visitor Center off the Baltimore Pike, maybe 2 or 3 miles to my south from where I'm standing. So, the Boston version is originally going to be housed in the Cyclorama building on Tremont Street in Boston. They're going to open it up, and a lot of veterans of the battle are going to go to it, and they're going to love it. It is a hit. The Boston Daily Advertiser, a newspaper at the time, says that one veteran says it's impossible to tell where reality ends and the painting begins. One veteran points, it's a story that one veteran is there with a friend of his, and he points to a spot on the painting where there's cannon smoke he thinks it's so realistic that he's telling his friend, just wait till the smoke clears and I'll show you where I was standing that day. So it's a huge hit. People love this painting. It is a runaway success. They decide that what better place to keep this painting than at Gettysburg. And at the Boston Cyclorama Center, they're going to take down the Gettysburg Cyclorama, or also as it was called, the Battle of Gettysburg was the name of the painting as well. They're going to take it down and replace it with a crucifixion of Jesus cyclorama. So this now we have the Boston Cyclorama that's just hanging around in storage, decaying. They're going to restore that painting. And then the Cyclorama building in Gettysburg is going to be funded and built in 1912, and it's going to open up in 1913. Just in time, of course, for the 50th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg. That was the big one. That was the big anniversary of the battle, where a lot of the veterans that were here were able to make it and come and celebrate the anniversary of the battle with their comrades and their former foes that were fighting against them. And that building is going to be here. A great reference for where that building was would just about be the water tower. We also use that reference when we're talking about the battlefield and we're trying to figure out where we're at. We also are going to look for the water tower on Cemetery Hill. That's where the Cyclorama building is going to be in 1913. However, that building, in a rush to complete it, it wasn't constructed the best. So it's going to leak a lot. It's going to be very damp. It's going to be unheated. And it's going to affect the condition of the painting. Obviously, a painting, especially an oil painting, it needs to be kept and preserved in some very ideal conditions. Otherwise, the oils will run, the canvas will start to yellow. If people don't know what they're doing, you know, they're not preserving it correctly, they may not have varnished it correctly. So some elements, some bugs, dust, stuff like that, that's going to start to affect the colors on the painting and whatnot. So in 1942, the Park Service, they're going to buy the Cyclorama, and then they're going to commission a building in 1961. And that is going to be where our next stop is. So we'll just take another quick look here where the old Cyclorama building was. No, it's not that circular building back there. That's part of the water tower. But this is where the original Cyclorama building was. Our next stop, we're going over to Ziegler's Grove there on Cemetery Ridge. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the Cyclorama building that was opened up in 1961 as part of Mission 66. Alright everyone, so directly behind me would have been the old Cyclorama building. Not the old Cyclorama building, but what we might call the old Cyclorama building. And it was a building designed with modernist architecture in mind. It was built in 1961. The painting itself, the Cyclorama painting itself, is going to go through a second restoration. Of course, like we said back on Baltimore Street, the painting was stored in a building that had a lot of leaks. It was unheated, it wasn't very climate controlled, so it was very damaging to the paint, the canvas itself. So the painting is going to go through an extensive restoration effort, and it's going to be restored, and it's going to be housed in the Cyclorama building. Now, the Cyclorama building itself was a part of what I referred to earlier as Mission 66. This was an effort started by the Park Service in the 1960s, and it was an effort to renovate a lot of the infrastructure, add new infrastructure, add a lot of visitor centers, and they went with a very modernist 1960s style to it. And as part of Mission 66, it was the Gettysburg Visitor Center and Parks and Cyclorama building was renovated. In 1961, they would have paid the American government would have paid $959,603. In today's money, to account for inflation and all that good stuff, that would have been the equivalent of $9.41 million. So not a small project whatsoever. So that building is going to be located here at Ziegler's Grove. Ziegler's Grove is a really, really cool part of the battlefield. I'm standing right in front of Martin's artillery battery here of the U.S., the 5th U.S. Artillery. Some excellent examples of a 10-pound Parrott gun here on either side. Really cool spot. It's one of those spots that is kind of in the middle of everything, but is also really quiet and tucked away. Of course, we have Hancock Avenue running here. We have the Emmitsburg Pike further out beyond that. The angle on the copse of trees is just over there. And the Widow Leister house is directly behind this monument marker here. So, really cool spot, right in the middle of everything, but also tucked away. So behind me would have been the Cyclorama Center, kind of starting up in this area and going down the hill there. And the Cyclorama Center, of course, it was a concrete, steel, and glass structure designed in the modernist style. It was designed by Richard Neutra as a part of that Mission 66 initiative. And it was a really, really great building. I am old enough, but also young enough comparatively to some people. I remember coming to the Cyclorama building and having a great time there. It was a really, really cool experience to go there. Even if my mom and dad didn't want to pay for the ticket to the Cyclorama itself, we still would visit a lot of the little exhibits they had, and they also had an observation deck as well. That observation deck was designed to replace the old park tower that used to be at Ziegler's Grove. And I think a really cool video, once the big Round Top, Little Round Top area is opened up, is to take a look at some of the old towers that used to be around the battlefield. I'm not sure if any of the tower, the concrete bases can still be found at Ziegler's Grove. I'd have to kind of look around a little bit. But I know for sure at Big Round Top, the bases are still there at Big Round Top. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent here. The Cyclorama building was gorgeous. I liked it. I thought it was a very cool design, a very 1960s modern architecture type design to it, and a lot of people admired the building. So in 2005, the Cyclorama painting itself is going to be closed for a 3rd restoration. Of course, they've gone another 60 years or so without being restored. It was kept in a lot better condition this time, but still you have visitors visiting it the whole time. The lights are going to affect the paint and the canvas, and just people, you know, just breathing on it and stuff. It's going to affect the canvas, so they're going to restore the painting a 3rd time. During this restoration, they're going to begin constructing the new visitor center. And I apologize because it seems I may be arguing over a helicopter flying overhead here very shortly. But they're going to construct the new visitor center there near Powers Hill off of Baltimore Pike. So eventually this building is going to close down and it's going to be demolished in 2013. And I can tell you personally, I wish I could find the memory card that has the pictures on it. I just don't know where it is through moves over the years and college and stuff like that. But I remember coming to the battlefield and visiting the old Cyclorama building as it had the fence around it and the demolition had just started. And it was a real shame because I had a lot of good memories there, a lot of school field trips, a lot of trips with my family here. We used to go to McDonald's there on the Emmitsburg Pike, which is Steinway Avenue, and we would grab McDonald's and we would have a picnic here at the Cyclorama building. So it was a place that was near and dear to my heart. So I was definitely sad to see it go. In the old Cyclorama building, the Cyclorama painting, you would start on the bottom floor and the painting would spiral up. So they didn't have either side of the painting connected to each other. You would start at the bottom and it would spiral up. And you would see the big 44-foot canvas in front of you. And also the other neat part about the Cyclorama is that it's not just the painting itself. On the ground before you, on the floor before you, you have caissons, muskets, cannons, wagon wheels, rocks, tree limbs that are broken down. So it was really cool. It really was an immersive experience. And what I liked about it is I felt like I could observe the painting and look at the details on my own time. Now at the new visitor center, the painting still looks great. there's a few things I'm not a huge fan of. I don't like that they make you sit through a movie. I don't like that they don't really let you explore it. I don't like that you're almost 30 feet away from the painting. I like to get up and look at the details. In fact, I got yelled at the Philadelphia Museum of Art for getting way too close to the Van Gogh sunflowers there. But either way, I like to look at the details. I like to see the brush strokes. I like to see the detail that the artist spent so many hours and so much time and effort on. And I don't really feel like I could get that with the painting. I didn't feel immersed like I did at the old Cyclorama building. Well, everyone, I will tell you right now, this video has taken an unexpected turn because I am currently standing on what used to be part of the sidewalk for the old Cyclorama, and I had no idea this was back here. So as you can see, I followed it all the way down here, and it just turns into grass. And it's going to go all the way. We're going to go through these trees here. This is so cool. I'm so excited. This is what visiting the Gettysburg National Military Park is all about. Yes, the battle is cool. But man, I love the history of the tourism to the area just as much. I think it's just as interesting, and you can tell this is not kept up at all. This is all overgrown. I mean, there's almost 10 years worth of overgrowth on the cracks of the sidewalk here. And just thinking of all the millions of school children that visited here. This is awesome, guys. I am so excited to have found this. And you know, I was actually just looking for a marker on the battlefield that still mentions the Cyclorama. That was going to be my Easter egg, and it still is if it's still there. But this is even better. I don't know what this opening would have been. This might have been underneath the observation deck, but man, this is so cool. Let's keep going down here. Like I said, this is not kept at all. There's overgrowth. There's growth in the sidewalk cracks. Oh my gosh. The old stone wall is here. I vaguely remember this part of the Cyclorama from visiting here. This would have been the back end of the building. Further up the building would have been the Cyclorama itself. Oh my God. This is so neat. This is just like a blast from the past for me. And of course, right up there would have been the Cyclorama. In this field here. Oh my gosh, this is so cool, guys. This is so cool that they kept this all here. Of course, down there, that's the Leicester Farm Meats headquarters, and that's the Tawnytown Road running there. Pennsylvania Monument off in the distance, United States Regulars Monument there. And of course, Ziegler's Grove right up there. But man, this is an absolute treat, guys. I had no idea the remnants of the Cyclorama were still here. I thought they tore all this up and you know, chipped it off and sent it away to a landfill. But my gosh, this sidewalk is still here. This is unbelievable. This is so cool. I'm actually really genuinely excited right now because I had no idea that this was still here, and I can't believe that I am nerding out over a sidewalk and some concrete. But nonetheless, this is really cool. This just totally made the whole video because I had no idea this was all here. How neat is that? This is what Gettysburg is all about, guys. Exploring and finding new stuff. Alright, let me see if I can't find that that old part park marker. That's a bit of a tongue twister in my excitement. That old park marker that talks about the Cyclorama building as if it's still here and we have a reference of where it was. All this gray concrete here was part of the original Cyclorama complex. All of the gray sidewalks goes down here to this little path that runs parallel with Hancock Avenue. And then it just kind of ends. Here's another view of where the old Cyclorama building would have been. Down there, of course, you can make out the concrete slabs where we were just walking. So it would have spread from up there. There would have been the big round section of it where they would hold the painting. And then the rest of it as we go down would have been the museum exhibits, visitor amenities, gift shop, stuff like that. So this is a really, really cool spot. I can almost see it trying to remember it. A lot of good memories there, guys. Well, guys, it looks like they updated the sign. It used to, not even a year ago, reference the Cyclorama building itself. Now they have an updated sign stating that the second version he produced is now on display at the Gettysburg National Military Park Museum and Visitor Center. It used to say Cyclorama on there. That was going to be my Easter egg. I'm not super disappointed though, because we did see the remnants of the Cyclorama building, which would have been right over there beyond George Meade's equestrian statue. So, a little disappointed about my failed attempt at an Easter egg. I do know I have a picture of that somewhere, so I will have to dig it up. I actually posted it to the Our Civil War Reddit page, so I'll have to go digging through my Reddit account and find it. But it was one of those anachronistic things that I thought was really funny, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not still there. But the Park Service updated it, and that's good, because, you know, one, they want people to pay the $18 to see the painting and the movie and the museum and all that good stuff. And of course, all that money goes to help the Gettysburg Foundation. And also, you want people going to the right place. You don't want to misdirect visitors, especially on something easy as updating a sign. But still, I'm a little disappointed because I thought that was going to be really cool. But yeah, I'll get them next time. That's what I have for this episode of Forward Gettysburg. I'm going to go check on something that I think still might be here. I think it's a cool little Easter egg on the battlefield. If I find it, I'll be sure to include it in the video. And of course, as always, I'm Aaron Smith. This is Forward Gettysburg, and I will catch you on the next one.